What is referred to as idiotic thing in the extract? Why do you think the poet advises not to install it? Television set is referred to an idiotic thing. The poet advises not to install it because it hypnotizes and produces dullness in the minds of those who watch it. Third one, describe what the poet sees at every house with television. Why is he upset with what he has seen? In almost every house with television, children were seen lazing about all day and staring at the television screen without doing any productive work. It upsets him because he considers television as a monster that kills children's imagination. Fourth one, explain the figure of speech used in the lines. Last week in someone's place, we saw a dozen eyeballs on the floor. Explain the figure of speech used in the lines. Last week in someone's place, we saw a dozen eyeballs on the floor. The figure of speech used here is hyperbole, which uses exaggeration for emphasis or effect. To put emphasis on the hypnotic effects of television, the poet says that previous week at someone's place he had seen a dozen eyeballs rolling about on the floor. What purpose do the repetitions serve in the extract? Repetitions are used in the above extract to emphasize that children should never be allowed to watch television as they just sit and stare at it without doing anything productive. Give two examples of repetition in the extract. Is never, never, never let them near your television set. They sit and stare and stare and sit. What type of rhyming scheme is followed in the extract? The rhyming scheme followed throughout is AA, BP, CC, DD, and so on. Oh yes, we know it keeps them still. They don't climb out the window still. They never fight or kick or punch. They leave you free to cook the lunch and wash the dishes in the sink. But did you ever stop to think, to wonder just exactly what this does to your beloved thought? It rots the sense in the head. It kills imagination dead. It clogs and clutters up the mind. It makes a child so dull and blind. He can no longer understand a fantasy, a fairyland. His brain becomes as soft as cheese. His powers of thinking rust and freeze. He cannot think. He only sees. The poet says it keeps them still. What keeps the children still? How? The television set keeps the children still as it hypnotizes them with all the junk that it telecasts. How does television prove to be useful and convenient for the parents? Television proves to be useful for the parents because it keeps their children still and occupied. The children then do not indulge in unnecessary fights and let their parents do their household chores peacefully. According to the poet, what ill effects does TV have on children? It produces dullness in their minds. It kills their imagination and thinking ability. It hypnotizes them and fills them with junk. We'll answer this by asking you, what used the darling ones to do? How used they keep themselves contented before this monster was invented? Have you forgotten? Don't you know? We'll say it very loud and slow. They used to read. They used to read. They'd read and read and read and read and then proceed to read some more. Great Scott, great looks. One half their lives was reading books. The nursery shelves held books galore. Books cluttered up the nursery floor, and in the bedroom by the bed, more books were waiting to be read. Whose and what question is the poet answering in the above extract? What does he say in his answer? The poet here answers the parents' query that if they take the television set away, what type of entertainment they would give to their children to keep them occupied. The poet replies by asking parents to recall how children had kept themselves entertained by reading books before television was invented. Comment on the use of visual imagery in the last 4 lines of the extract. Once children start reading, they get so involved in reading that there would be books everywhere. Last 4 lines describe such a scenario. The nursery shelves would be filled with books. Books would scattered on the floor and by the children's bed. They used to read. They'd read and read and read and read and then proceed to read some more. Great Scott, great looks. What do these lines indicate about the style of the poem? The following lines use repetition to create a smooth flow and to put emphasis on the fact that children used to only read books before monstrous television was invented. Moreover, the use of capital letters stresses on the word read, implying importance of reading books. Why are some words printed in capital letters while others are printed in small letters? This is done to catch the reader's attention and emphasize that instead of watching television, children should engage themselves in reading as they used to do before television was invented. Which monster is the poet referring to in the above extract? How was the situation different before its invention? The poet refers to television set as a monster that kills children's imagination. Before television was invented, children would actively engage themselves only in reading. Books could be found everywhere, on the nursery shelves, on nursery floor, in the bedroom, or by the children's bed. The younger ones had Beatrix Potter with Mr. Todd, the dirty rotter, and Squirrel Nutkin, Pigling Bland, and Mrs. Tiggy Winkle, and just how the camel got his hump, and how the monkey lost his rump, and Mr. Todd, and bless my soul, there is Mr. Rat and Mr. Mole. Oh, books, what books they used to know. Those children living long ago. So please, oh please, we beg, we pray, go through your TV set away. We pray, go throw your TV set away, and in its place you can install a lovely bookshelf on the wall. Which figure of speech is used in the Younger ones had Beatrix Potter. Give an example of the rhyming scheme in the extract. Synecdoche is a figure of speech in which a part is put for the whole or the whole for a part. This is used in the younger ones had Beatrix Potter. Example of rhyming scheme: Potter, rotter. Give the significance of the lines. Oh books, what books they used to know, those children living long ago. The poet remembers the time when children used to only read books. They used to read books filled with tales of treasure islands, voyages, smugglers, pirates, ships, elephants, and cannibals. It was a time when young children traveled to an all-new adventurous world of animals with Mr. Todd, Squirrel, Nutkin, and Piglin Bland. Why is the reference to children living long ago important in the above extract? The reference is important because it transports the readers to a time before the television was invented, when children used to read. According to the poet, what should be done to save children from hypnotism of television? State whether his suggestion is practical. The poet suggests that TV sets should be thrown out and should be replaced with bookshelves. His suggestion does not seem to be practical, as television is also a medium for education. Children can be guided to watch educational programs and newscasts. Give your views either for or against throwing away the TV sets from the houses. TV sets should be thrown out of the houses. The poet mentions only the negative aspects of television. That is why he says TV sets should be thrown out of the houses. Television has educational benefits as it is an audio-visual medium and can help children learn by watching. However, there is a need to maintain a balance between watching television and other activities. Is it important to instill in children the need to read books? Why? Yes, it is important to instill in children the need to read books because the poem stresses the importance of inculcating reading as a habit. It is only reading that can fill children with true joy and happiness. Reading books will help them to travel to new and exciting worlds of dragons, queens, and whales. The poet believes that it is parents' duty to inculcate the habit of reading in their children by introducing their children to the wonderful world of books. It is only reading that will fill children's hearts with joy, for which later they will love their parents even more. Students, I am repeating this line. It is only reading that will fill children's hearts with joy, for which later they will love their parents even more. The poet advises children to read books for entertainment. How far do you agree with this advice? To develop a habit of reading books is an important advice that the poet gives. Reading transfers one to a beautiful world of imagination and fantasy. Reading fills one's heart with true joy and happiness. But the poet appears to advise reading for entertainment, which seems to be a limited approach. There are other artistic fields the child can venture into, like painting, theater, games, dance, singing, etc. And once they start, oh boy, oh boy, you watch the slowly growing joy that fills their hearts. They'll grow so keen, they'll wonder what they would ever seen. They'll wonder what they'd ever seen in that ridiculous machine, that nauseating, foul, unclean, repulsive television screen, and later each and every kid will love you more for what you did. What will they start? How does the poet feel about it? Which words tell you so? It refers to children's act of starting to read books once television is uninstalled from their houses. The poet feels very excited about it as he employs an easy, delightful, and cheering tone while talking about books. His excitement is reflected through, oh boy, oh boy. Give disadvantages of watching television as stated in the extract. Television is a ridiculous machine, a silly invention of modern science that does not have any positive effect. It is nauseating and disgusting to watch. It is foul, morally bad and offensive. It is unclean as it telecasts only junk. The television screen thus is repulsive. Comment on the poet's different use of language for television and the books. The poet advises the parents never to install the idiotic thing, so as to save their children's thinking and imagination from decaying. Not only an idiot, but television for the poet is a monster that hypnotizes children and fills them with junk. The poet asks the parents to throw away the nauseating, foul, unclean, repulsive television screen and to install a lovely bookshelf on the wall. Television, according to the poet, is monstrous and idiotic, but books are filled with wondrous, fine, and fantastic tales. How, according to the poet, can children benefit from reading books? The poet stresses the importance of inculcating reading as a habit. It is only reading that can fill children with true joy and happiness. Reading books will help them to travel to new and exciting worlds of dragons, queens, and whales. The poet believes that it is parents' duty to inculcate the habit of reading in their children by introducing their children to the wonderful world of books. It is only reading that will fill children's hearts with joy, for which later they will love their parents even more. According to the poet, reading books would fill children's hearts with joy. Do you agree? Give a reason for your answer. I agree. Yes. To develop a habit of reading books is an important advice that the poet gives. Because reading transfers one to a beautiful world of imagination and fantasy, reading fills one's heart with true joy and happiness. Hence, it is only reading that will fill children's hearts with joy, for which later they will love their parents even more. Thank you, dear students. Thank you for watching this particular video. I believe that you need to balance between reading, cultivating the habit of reading, and watching video for educational purpose. I believe that this video has made a significant impact in your life in order to boost the habit of reading. Because nowadays what happens, students watch more videos, take down the notes, everything is fine. The same time, through this particular video, I would like to tell you that students, let us inculcate the habit of reading. That is why if you look at the screen, I just put read. Read books. Cultivate more knowledge. Okay, students? After watching this video, kindly put forth your comments, like, subscriptions. This digital platform is specially designed for better learning. Thank you, students.